and global AI area industry, transportation, railroad, and cyberspace, everything, 10 areas, they're going
Mhm.
to be lead in the world.
They means China.
Exactly, China want to lead, like Huawei is a leading company. They are 2025, 2035, 2049, they're making a target. And the final goal is their singularity, right? So
And
that's the reason Trump get upset.
so would that be making some difference in the Chinese effort of reading the new market, for example, the AI? Then finally they will succeed in making taking the lead in the new market, AI market. Then the market structure is going to be changed as the U.S. huge companies are doing now.
Exactly. So China, for example, they try to lead IoT, and they try to lead everything for those areas. So America is more power than China, but China
Oh,
is
yeah, would that be the same way? Just the dominance will be transferred from U.S. to China.
though China is America IT industry much more ahead than China, but China is at government wide, country wide. They decide to focus on investment for those areas.
Mm. So I mean, if the Chinese market, Chinese AI technology will take the lead to overtake the U.S. position right now, then would that be able to change the market structure, the global market structure, or to keep the status quo, just changing the name of the dominant?
So only way the American IT industry survive, they need to coordinate with the Chinese people, Chinese company, and Chinese government. They are talking about they are okay, still technology, and still the sort of things, and Communist Party just they cannot believe them. No, no, no. The American company, American government need to consider working get together with Chinese company. This morning I said just Wu and Yue. I told you, Wu and Yue is on the same ship, and some cases coordinate each other, even though competitor.
So the market situation being unhealthy and balanced is going to keep going,
Uh,
even if China will take over the U.S. position.
yeah, very simple. Chinese engineers cost is more than cheaper than one third, right?
But
More than cheaper than one third.
this kind of fundamental technology development, um, of course, it requires labor, but the ROI is so high that I don't think that
Well,
the
what is so high?
for R&D,
R&D.
Research and development.
research and development.
R&D.
So
Also patent.
I don't
is,
think that the fact that they have lower costs in labor is going to make the ultimate difference. Um, R&D is different from example producing a car. That's
Mm.
basically you. It doesn't really matter what kind of worker you put in that system. They need to do a very limited task and they need to do that quickly. But you can more or less that process is completely predictable. But in terms of R&D, of course there are some methodologies in place, but there is actually talent is very much determining the outcome of the effort. I don't think that kind of business is driven by cost advantages. This is more about developing talent and the right cultural and educational system that will output the proper people who can make a difference. So it's not sheer numbers that will determine the outcome, neither in cost.
That's right.
Mm.
All
So
driving yes.
does it mean that the other company, other the countries, but U.S. or China or U.S. companies, the Chinese company could rise in the market, taking more benefit?
Well, I think what will determine the outcome of this is that who's going to invest most in R&D, because I would say that if Chinese companies are going to make more and more money available for R&D, they will attract American talent, they will attract European talent, they will attract Japanese talent to work in their R&D centers. We already see that happening, for example, in Singapore, where Singapore, the authorities in Singapore, they make available a lot of money for R&D, and Japanese top researchers, they are leaving Japan and go to Singapore because the facilities are much better, the salaries are higher. They can do whatever they want to do because they have the state-of-the-art technology available, which for a researcher makes a big impact, because the value of your services is not only salary but also what you can achieve. So if you have better tools, then you can be much more successful as a researcher. So investment, government investment, infrastructure, who you're going to work with, what kind of technology you will have at your fingertips, these things will determine the outcome of the race, not the fact that salaries are lower.
Yeah, the big reason is English speaking is, I think, expand more than 10 times, scope and capacity and human relations, right? Japanese language is limited to only 130 million. But if you're going to start to English environment, engineering relationship, you're going to increase to 10 times, 50 times. So I think better than Japanese speaking rather than better than Japanese speaking, you had better take English environment. So Japanese company shifting R&D to China, American company shifting R&D to China. In China, R&D centers, everybody speak English, so they got much more advantage rather than Japanese company in Japan. So why Japanese companies sees no growth past 30 years? It's simple. They try to focus only Japanese language, so they need to shift into the R&D to China. This is the only way, but they do not. They don't want to do that. But they should, if they want to survive. Right? American company is the same. Trump's strategy is wrong. He needs to change their strategy. He much more focus on China, and they move into China. Otherwise, their IT industry, they cannot survive. Consider it, try to making one technology, one product. Chinese can make it, including recently Chinese not manufacturing country. Recently they are much more focused on engineering skill and building new product. They can do it. So R&D is, I think, the very similar level of the United States. It means if they go to one third cost, they can sustain R&D. And patent is the same level of America. So immediately, American company R&D department shifting to China. It suddenly they reduce their cost one third. So who will win? It's obvious. Why the Trump cannot do it? Because he's a management of the investment for real estate. He doesn't know how to do in business. So it means, at my opinion, it's crazy what his decision.
He always makes these kind of decisions. Like his security advisor was also his legal counsel. He has no experience in security whatsoever. But he was a competent guy in the legal field. Therefore, he made him a security advisor. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous. So this is, I think, immediately he need to change their strategy. Otherwise, American cannot catch up with the rest of the global technology advantage. And of course, a Chinese company may consider to shifting the R&D to more developing country in Asia, like Bangladesh or other country, make investment how to train people, because Vietnam, they are more cheaper. And Vietnamese is very clever people. Why don't they go and make investment money to Vietnam? Okay, so this is R&D center in Vietnam or R&D center in Bangladesh is a good opportunity for those companies. This is obvious, but Japanese people never do that. Stupid. America still don't reluctant to doing because of Trump, right? This is crazy.